Okay, YouTubers, so got a package from CB Performance today. UPS guy dropped it off this evening. So I figure we'll take a look in here and see what goodies I got for the old bug. This took a little bit of time. Not too bad though. It's been, about 4 or 5 days. Came ground shipped. So, of course, they give you all their little stickers and stuff inside here. This is for some spring fling in California. I probably won't be able to make that. Of course, check your package within 24 hours. And packing slip. So this is kind of cool. This is their latest promotion. You order so many dollars in parts and you get a free catalog. So I figured I'd click that. I'd rather have 10% off though. Money off is always better. So, let's see here. Got a filter pump, and the reason I'm going with a filter pump instead of full flow is price. This was like 60 some odd dollars. I can't remember exactly. Wow, they have prices right there. So the filter pump was $69 with a filter. If I did a full flow, which a friend of mine has the pump, it's already modified for full flow, but I'd still have to buy lines, I'd have to buy fittings, I'd have to buy the filter bracket and the filter, and if you buy decent quality stuff, you're still going to spend about $200. $60, don't plan on revving this thing through the moon actually. This thing's going to be a low RPM motor, so I believe I can get away with one of these, so. And the last pump that I had that was CB, that came out of that stock motor that we're turboing that's in the Baja, had a CB filter pump, and it was actually pretty nice quality, so that's why I'm going back with that again. Here's torsion rubbers, because the spring plate rubbers are pretty much ruined in this thing, and every time I go over a bump I can hear them clomping around, and I know it's not the shocks because I just got brand new shocks on it. So, got the inners and the outers. It's kind of interesting, this one's not in package, doesn't matter. Let's see, what else did we get? Ooh. What is that? Oh, flywheel seal. Earring. Flywheel seal should be, that's what that should be. Pretty sure. So this says oil seal. Peanuts, you gotta hate peanuts, but they do their job. I see what looks to be some lifters. Nope, push rod tubes. That'd be interesting. Now, the camshaft I chose for this thing, it's basically if you try to put it in the universal terms of Engel, it's a CB cam, but most people know what the Engel rigs are. It would be equivalent to an FK65. It's supposed to be kind of like a 100, but you can use 1.4s on it. So, being that I'm going to use 1.4s, I wanted to have some wiggle room. They packed this pretty good. Maybe don't want these to get dented. And I'll probably dent them as soon as I get them on the floor. But I wanted some wiggle room, and I figured I'd try these. These are the that is packaged good. One thing you can say about CB, they definitely package their stuff pretty good. These are like, they got the stock bottom end on the push rod tube. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then they got this big, ridiculous largemouth, and I've heard that it's like the water boxer style. And I have never tried these yet, but I've heard that they give you quite a bit amount of clearance between the push rod and the tube. And since I'm running ratio rockers, it moves the adjusting screw up, and I want all the room I can get in there if I can help it. And these are the steel. I did not order the stainless. Once again, price kind of dictated that. Although these aren't crazy cheaper, but it was like 20 bucks cheaper. But if you can see that, see it's stock down here, and then it flares out to a larger diameter up here. And see if I can put these side by side. You guys can see that that's quite a bit bigger there. Let me get a little closer. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I might have to span these a little more to get the same crush because there's no corrugated area over here to crush. But I figured I'd try these. You know, see how those work. It seems like a good idea, and they still sell them. The reason I think you don't see a lot more people run them is these were like 20 some odd dollars on a stock pushrod tube. And you got to buy different seals for the end. But a stock pushrod tube is like $2 a piece at some places like $1. So, also ordered the Mega Deep Sump oil pickup tube. And the reason being is I have a Bird 4-quart sump which will go on there. It's an early model, meaning that it takes the long studs and the sleeves. So I needed this because on the stock motor I just welded another tube on there, and I kind of didn't like how that turned out because it wasn't exactly the same size. So I want to be able to run the screen. So that's why I bought this. This is a pretty good deal, 20 bucks. A friend of mine put it in his 2165 and he was happy with it. Let's see. Now, this part right here, I'm so goofy. When I first bought the interior from the car, I bought from J-Bugs. Bought the interior kit and all that, and the car was missing the passenger side window regulator. It had like 3 driver's side door regulators, and I picked the best one that I had and put it in the driver's side door. And you're like, okay, it goes up, it goes down, no problem, you know. And then I bought a new one for the passenger side, and the part numbers are like basically the same except for one's D and one's P or something like that. Anyways, they sent me the driver's side, and I was like, oh man, you know, I don't want to deal with that. And so I called them up, and they were cool about it, and they sent me return shipping, and I shipped it out and all that. And then I got the passenger side in, put it in the door, and I rolled it up, and I was like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have done that. I should have kept the other one and just told them to send me another regulator. But I'm cheap, you know, and sometimes that bites you. But anyways, bought a driver's side window regulator because now I roll up the passenger side, and I'm really jealous that the driver's side's so hard to roll up. Got our little oil seals for the pushrod tubes. As you can see, it has the stock pushrod tube seal for the bottom, that it has these O-rings for the top. So that will go over there. Let's see here. There's supposed to be quite a few bits and pieces in here. Axle seal kits, because I plan on pulling the transmission out, and a friend of mine has a stock transmission that has like a 412 in it, so I'm going to probably be swapping transmissions out, and I'll have to pull the axles out, so I'll need some axle seals for that. So there should be 2 of those. Cam bearings. They're Silverline, so that's kind of neat. The CB doesn't say what their bearings are, what brand, where they're from. Other websites you order from, sometimes up in the corner they'll say it's Impy, they'll say it's Bug Pack, Scat, they'll tell you if it's latest Rage or whatever, or Silverline. I was a little scared because it didn't say anything about any of their bearings, and the reason I ordered the main bearings from Bug-Eyed was he was like $8 cheaper or something like that, and plus he said what they were, and that they were Silverlines. The rod bearings are Molly's. I haven't heard anything bad about that. Just the Silverline, you know, that's the brand you're going to get if you order from them. This is a Molly rod bearings and Silverline cam bearings. So kind of good to know, you know, if you're out there trying to buy parts and you look at it and you're like, oh man, it just says bearing. That's what they're going to send you. So here's filter for the pump. It's a Molly filter, you know, probably VW style part. Let's see what other goodies we have in here. Lifters, that's what this should be. Yep, valve tappets. Now I ordered, I didn't order their fancy dancy ones. What I ordered was the Bigfoot ones, and the Bigfoot ones were the cheapest ones they sell, which I thought was kind of weird. They're supposed to be like high lift, clearance, and all that. We'll see what they look like here. Oh, it's upside down. Yeah, they're clearance for high lift. They got the skinny head on it. See that? They got the skinnier head on there, so that'll work. And, you know, I haven't heard anything bad about these. They sell their other super lightweight ones. These aren't the lightest lifters in the world. But you know, I'm going with a CB cam, and they say it's compatible, so that's the main thing. Of course, I'll run oil with zinc in it. Probably buy like Joe Gibbs oil or something like that. And let's see what else we got here. Another oil seal for the axle. There's a camshaft down in there. Should be, here we go. Chromoly valve spring retainers. I actually have a set of these already, and the deal is for the Turbo in a Day project, which is supposed to be Turbo in a weekend, I decided that, you know, if we turbocharge that thing, the valve springs and components are probably going to be inadequate, and they are. It hasn't valve floated as of yet, but we're going to jet it, and I think that's going to start valve floating then. But they were empty, so I gave those to John because it's kind of just like whatever, you know, I had those laying around. Plus, these are supposed to have a little more clearance in them to clear the valve guide. And being that the cam's going to lift like 470 lift with the ratio rocker, somewhere in that range, I wanted to definitely have the space at the retainer, not hit. So, you know, 20 bucks, good deal. It's a quality part from a quality company. Was not a El Cheapo Chinese made part. And that's kind of one reason why I didn't buy everything from one place. Push rods. Apparently, I thought these had been in the box, but they're not. Now, when I ordered these are probably a lot heavier duty than I needed. These are the .058s instead of the .03 somethings. And the reason I did that is because they were out of stock of the thinner ones. I don't need the heavier duty ones, but like I say, they are out. Kind of surprised that some of this just got packed this way. Usually CB puts them in nice boxes and whatnot. But they're cut to length, you know, chromoly push rods. These are supposed to be Manton, and they got the ends. You know, once again, a friend of mine, actually a good note to have. He has SCAT ratio rocker arms, and he had the El Cheapo brand push rods. And the ends on the little eyes here on the bottoms of the push rods, they were the El Cheapoest ones you could get, and they had a little bit of a burr. And being that they're chromoly and hardened, that burr that was sticking out there was enough to erode his adjusting cups that are on the push rod side on the 1.4 rockers. And in doing, when he did that, he had no clue that that was the problem. He just noticed that his valve adjustments started going away really quick, and he was really scared he was had a flat cam because he had just put the motor back together. And then he found that the cups, when he took the rocker arms off, were worn. And he bought us another set of cups. Well, the little adjusting screws are like $7 or $8 a piece, and he had to buy a whole set. So if you're going to use cheap parts, you know, and even if you're using kind of a quality part, make sure that there's no burrs or anything sticking out on those ends, because that kind of bit him. That was a $100, not mistake, because, you know, he didn't know that would happen. I didn't know that would happen. I've never ran into that problem. But something to keep your eyes out for. This video is going to be incredibly long. I'm not even going to open this. I bought valve springs. These are single heavy-duty valve springs. For the setup that I'm running, this should be pretty adequate. One reason I'm running singles is I don't want to spend the money to machine the head for dual springs. And like I say, this is basically like a FK65 cam. It's not going to spin past $5,000 ever. So, you know, these should be adequate for that. And if it doesn't, I'll have to take it apart and redo it again. Hopefully I don't. Let's see what else we got here. Camshaft. This is the cam I'm running, a 2236, I think it says. It's a CB's brand Eagle camshafts. The reason I'm running this one is it's supposed to go with ratio rockers. And I already have 1.4s on the stock motor, it's in the car. And even though they're the cheapest style you can get, it seems kind of like a waste to go back to 1-to-1s. And plus, I gave my 1-to-1s to John with the solid shafts. So I'd rather just go ahead and, you know, use the 1.4s because they're working for now. maybe one day I'll move up to something a little better. But in the box, you get some cam shield grease, and amazingly, it comes with bolts and lock washers. So, no, just, yeah, they're wavy lock washers, but still, that's kind of cool that the $80 cam kit comes with bolts, because usually they charge you $4 or $5 a piece for this. I'm not going to take it out of its nice little packaging. It's just the camshaft. If you ever had a Volkswagen apart, it's just a stick with lumps. Comes with a cam card. Put this up there. If anybody wants to know the specs on the cam card, you can pause it and zoom in, hopefully. But it's supposed to have 385 valve lift. I'd have to get the calculator out and do the math. This is is that at the cam, or is it at the, I think that's at the valve. Because I know this cam doesn't have a lot of lift without ratios on it. I'd have to do the math. That's either, that may be at the seat, at the nose. But that's the cam, and I think that is all the parts I ordered. I'm not exactly sure here. Let's look at their little thing here. Push rods, camshaft, lifters, springs, retainers, cam bearings, window regulator, rod bearings, maxi oil pump, rear main seal, racing push rod tubes, torsion grommet, function grommet, rear axle seal kit, Chromoly push rods, calendar, all that good stuff, and return. So that should be all of everything's in there. If you guys kind of curious, it's not cheap. It's $420 in parts, and when you think about it, and I'm going to show you guys here what's on the ground, it's not a lot of stuff. So, you know, you hear about, oh, you can build a Volkswagen motor cheap. Yeah, you can, you can't. You know, it's not the old days of $20 stuff. But, you know, that's $400 in stuff right there. You know, it doesn't look like it, but this is the nickel and dime stuff that just kind of beats you to death in building these things. But, you know, I could have gone a little cheaper. There was other places I could have got the oil pump a slight bit cheaper. I could have got the camshaft definitely cheaper. You know, but sometimes it's just not worth skimping on the quality. Like I say, the oil pump, I had another one, and it seemed like it was doing good. That stock motor, when I took it apart to put the K10 cam in it, and then John called and said he wanted the motor, so I, you know, scratched that idea. That bottom end was beautiful, and I think it was because it had the filter pump on there. And like I say, that motor originally came out of the junkyard. So, you know, I was like, hey, I'll use it again, you know. So, and then, you know, just gotta, you know, I don't want to skimp out all the way and this thing break on me. So, trying to use some stuff that's pretty good quality and that I've heard that will definitely work. I've heard the CB cams and the CB lifters are working, and like I say, I plan on zinking it up anyways with some $7 a quart oil. And this stuff, like I say, make it better ride. I think what kind of happened here is I think they took some of the stuff out of the packaging that would normally be packaged just to save me space and make the shipping a little cheaper. Because they did call me up and tell me that the way they packaged it, the shipping was less. It was like $11 less, so that was pretty cool. So I'm still waiting for rods. They should have got them probably this week. But I do have rods from the 1915 up here, and I wanted to show you guys the difference in between a stock rod, which is the bottom one here. Alright, completely stock Volkswagen rod, 311B, really good rod. I've never had a problem with them, and I've even used the nuts and the bolts over. And when I was younger, I'd spin them 6,000 RPM, not building really high horsepower motors, but I never had a problem. You can also always get one of these that's been rebuilt with the better bolts and stroker clearance. This is a El Cheapo, I don't know what brand rod. That's what was in the motor. I'm suspecting it was AA, just from the looks of it, has one oil hole at the top, not two at the sides, like a stock rod does. Stock rod has three, one at the top, and then one on each side. The beam is not the same thickness. The stock rod looks thicker to me. I have not mic'd it, but this is a little thinner looking down here compared to here. The big thing that you're gaining by going to these rods, number one, price, $100. You know, roughly. Pretty much every seller sells them for 100, 120 bucks. Set of stock rods. If you're in California, I think they're like 30 or 40 bucks to get rebuilt stockers, and then the stroker ones are like 120. You know, that's still a really good deal because a stock rod, it's really pretty stout. I've seen a car that was a drag car, and it ran a Berg crank, and it was basically an Allberg motor, but it had the stock modified Berg rods. And that car ran for a whole season with the rod knocking. And it finally, at Silver Dollar, started knocking so bad that they had to take it apart. And when they did, the rod didn't fail, but it had twisted and bent. The rod twisted along the beam this way and then bent up. And it's still, that car usually ran like 680s, and it was an aspirated car. And I think it ran like a 730. And that's why they actually took the motor apart, is they're like, man, we lost power. Well, no wonder. You lost a lot of deck there. You gained a whole bunch of deck. But anyways, what you're really gaining with these rods here is this right here. This is where the clearance up here is minimal. It's minimally different than a stock rod. But right here is where the stroker clearancing is. And when I go to put this together, I'm going to try and line these up. If you can see here, it doesn't show up very well in the camera. Probably because of the light. But right here, the rod bolt. You know, that's where you're gaining stroker clearance. Right there. See, my finger goes down, it hits the rod bolt, and then I have to come out to here. You know, I'd say that's probably like at its max point out from here to here. I'd say that's probably about 10 millimeters. 3/8 of an inch for us Americans. There we go, that's better. That shows you what the stroker rod's giving you. You know, now if you tried to clearance a stock rod to the same extent, you'd see that bottom cap of the rod bolt is going to take a massive cut. And up at the top, it's pretty much the same. I don't think you're really gaining anything at the top on the rod nut. You know, these nuts, these bolts are a little smaller than the nut, but that's pretty much minimal. The area right in here, though, on the aftermarket rod is pretty nice. I was expecting this to be really garbage, and it's probably got more material in there, but I don't know if the rods are stronger themselves. I know this is chromoly. I don't know what these exactly are, but I know they're strong. If I were to throw this together with a stock stroke, I was going to use these. No doubt about it. But the reason I'm going with the aftermarket rods, and these are not the rods I'm using, this is just what was in there, but they're pretty much the same rod, is because of the stroker clearancing on the back. I'm pretty sure if I use this thing with an 80 stroke, I'm going to run into a lot of problems with camshaft clearance and the top of the case. I actually had Scooter at R&S build me years ago a 82 by 94 2275 with the Geenberg 190s and 191s, I think is what they are. Basically, it's a stock rod rebuilt with a slight bit of stroker clearancing. And when I say slight, it was like that. Berg does not take much off the rods. There's more clearancing here than there was here. And Scooter had to clearance that thing so far that it ended up with a hole in the top. It ended up with a small window on the very top of the engine case. And where it showed up was on this cylinder right here. The other cylinders were fine. It didn't have that problem, but it was this one right here. And we put JB Weld on it, and it held for about a year of driving it. And then one day I was doing something and it just popped off and vented the case, you know. So I put like a little bit of tape there and then put JB Weld on it again, and when I sold the car, it was still going. So that kind of made my decision to go with the aftermarket rod. Plus, I'm not putting a lot of RPM on this. If I was going serious, crazy RPM, I'd use the stock rod over that. Definitely any day of the week. But I figure I'd give you guys a little update, do a little unboxing video of all the stuff. I want to check through my peanuts, make sure I didn't miss anything. And, seen some other people subscribe to the channel. Thank you, I appreciate that. Like I said in that last video, if you guys haven't seen Sloppy Mechanics, go check it out. It's pretty cool. The guy's doing like, homegrown stuff. Some of the stuff you kind of like, man, I'd like to boost that motor until it dies. And, most of us kind of don't have the time or the effort or the, not even much as money in his setup, but, just mostly like time to be able to go and blow a motor up. And plus a dyno to go tune it. So that's pretty, he's kind of lucky. He doesn't have kids and all that stuff yet, it seems like. So he's able to go do some of the stuff that we kind of dream of. So, if you haven't seen his video, go and check that out. So there's my big pile of parts. Hopefully you guys are having fun. There's my big box, and there's my big mess. I'm still defeated with all that. So I got to get all this cleaned out so we can start putting this motor together. Once I get rods, I think we can start clearancing the block. And then I'll probably clean the block after that. So I figured give you guys a little tour of what's going on. So get out there and have fun with your cars. Let's get these things all back on the road. If you guys are making videos, make videos. It's always fun to see what other people are doing. True car guys are into any car. I'll tell you that. Some people are like, it's just a Ford or a Chevy, but a true car guy will see, what you've done on your engine, your car, your paint, your wheels, and they'll respect the effort and the work that goes into that. So, I enjoy seeing anything. If you guys got, Hondas, Toyotas, whatever, I'll watch it, just like, I don't know, link it to me or something like that. It may not be my style of car, I can't say imports because I gotta have an import, but the Ricer thing's not always my deal, but I do respect the talent and the work people put in it, and some of the people's stuff is amazing, I will admit that. So you guys have a good time, and I'm going to try and edit this video down to hopefully something manageable because I've probably been rambling for 15 minutes, and I'll see you guys later.